Welcome, welcome, welcome. Happy Thursday. It is Therapy Thursday. It's Therapy Thursday in Atlanta, but it's already Friday where I am. How are you? I'm Dr. Triffy. I'm a licensed psychologist in Atlanta, Georgia. But I am from the lovely Caribbean island of Dominica, not to be confused with the Dominican Republic. We love them, but they're a different country. We're further south, and we are between Guadeloupe and Martinique. So many Thursdays, I show up here to share psychological tips, strategies to help us think better, feel better, and do better. Tonight, I am talking about a very powerful subject. And I say powerful because the impact of domestic violence is felt far and wide. It is a very challenging topic to understand, and it can be overwhelming. I get that. As a psychologist, I get that. I am talking about domestic violence today because on my lovely Eden, we love to refer to Dominica as the most unspoiled, untouched island in the world. We're biased a little bit like that. As the year ended, two women were killed at the hands of their partners in domestic violence situations. And one can say that domestic violence happens all around the world, across economic strata, across ethnicities, across every possible variable. But for a small island like ours, where violent crime is not a huge problem, it was extremely shocking. It's been very shocking. And as we try to process, as we try to think about, as we try to explore solutions, I want to keep talking about this. And I was so happy when a girlfriend from my childhood, back in the days when it felt like Eden, for real, reached out on social media and said, I would love the opportunity to talk more about this, because I'm sensing that many people are not really necessarily understanding some of the variables involved in why women stay and how women leave. And I'm going to be saying women because we will establish that men also experience domestic violence. But we know that in large measure, women are the ones who suffer the most at the hands of male perpetrators. In these two events in Dominica, both perpetrators were male and the victims were women. So I give this long introduction. I also want to, as a trauma-trained therapist, advise you to be prepared to listen to information that potentially could feel very painful for you, and that you have a job to do. You have a responsibility, as will Desde, who I'll introduce you to in a minute, to manage your emotions and your responses, and that if something feels like it's too much for you, you do get to take a break, you do get to stop watching and make choices to take care of yourself as you listen to Desde's story. So I want to also extend condolences and best wishes and wishes for grief recovery for the family and friends of the two women who were killed, and also to the community at large, because we feel the pain. We feel the pain of these losses when they happen. On a personal note, I want to ask you for forgiveness as I keep this little cup with me to keep myself hydrated. I have a little piece of gum in my mouth to keep my mouth hydrated. Dominicans do not like it when you talk with gum in your mouth. Please forgive me tonight. Okay. So I'm going to welcome Desde and have her introduce herself and tell us a little bit more about herself as I turn my music off as well. Yes, yes, yes. So, Miss Pierre-Louis,
Well,
welcome,
thank
welcome.
you for having me. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
Um, where do we start?
Where do we
It's
start?
sad. It's
Tell
a
us
happy
about
time to be here. My name is Desdemonia Pierre-Louis. I'm really from Cottage, the village of Cottage. Right now I reside in New York. I mean, one of my reasons why I'm in New York is because of the same thing that's happening in back home, and I heard of the stories, and I didn't want to comment, but I read some of the views of our people, and it hurt my heart. I wanted to comment on Carrie FM news and different news and Emo news, and because I heard people say, I say, you know what? I started deleting. I said, but and then you when you wrote about it, I like let me comment on if your post because I don't think some people understand what women are go through because I have been through it. I went through it for 7 years.
mm, mm, mm.
7 years of my life, and I don't think much people knew either because I'll be home and I'll be smiling and dressing and looking nice because that's what
Yes.
we try to portray to make ourselves look happy. But
Mm-hmm.
deep down, we're hurting. I know there are a lot of women out there. They're hurting too. People don't know their sad story, but it's
Yes.
there. And if we come out and say our story, maybe we can just have one person get out of that life situation because it's hard. People say, "Why
Yes.
do they stay?" I don't understand, you know
Yeah.
but it's a whole society, it's a mental thing, it's so wide and deep that people won't understand, and until
It's
you are in
big.
it they will know. And it starts it's the signs. I know the signs are there, the signs does be there, but
Yeah.
sometimes we bypass it, but little signs just be there.
Yeah.
But
Well, let's start with defining what is domestic violence. Okay. So I'll read something and I want you to
yes.
tell me from your perspective what is domestic violence. So domestic violence from the point of view of a psychologist is this. So first off, some people will refer to it as intimate partner violence. Some people might call it gender-based violence. Domestic violence is violent or aggressive behavior within the home or relational situations, typically involving the violent abuse of a spouse or a partner. And it might include, but it is not limited to, hitting, kicking, biting, slapping, shaking, pushing, pulling, choking, grabbing, stabbing, shooting, physical assault. But it also includes verbal assault,
That's right.
emotional
That's right.
assault, financial abuse,
That's right.
sexual abuse.
Mm-hmm.
It's as you say, wide.
Right.
It's a big thing. Women ages 18 to 24, well, really up to 34, generally experience the highest rates of intimate partner violence. So, if I were to ask you to tell me what is domestic violence, and then to share your story. What would you say is domestic violence first off?
It's physical, mental, emotional, and sexual abuse.
Hmm.
And the
Hmm.
deepest one we think is the physical. I think the deepest one is the verbal abuse.
Why do you say
Wo-
that? What makes you say
Because
that?
words haunt you. When you hear certain things, people say deep down, words, for me, on my part,
Hmm. Hmm.
was not the physical because maybe for some people, the physical, because some men might just come home and just start to bash you and just kick you. My abuse wasn't that kind of way, where you just come and just beat me and grab me and just beat me up, and no, it wasn't that kind of abuse. It was a strange kind of abuse. It had physical abuse,
Hmm.
but not to where some women just say the men just come home and they drunk and they start beating them and cut them. No, it was not that kind of abuse. It kind of, but not that in that way.
Mm-hmm.
And the words haunt you because something I forget when I think back. So like the words, some of the words, and I'll shake my head. So there are some words, like for instance, if I'm driving, I told my kids, my son, I never want to hear somebody call a woman a bitch. This is a word. There are some words I don't want to hear.
Mm-hmm.
These are the words because those words I hear so much in my mind that when you hear that word, it brings back that memory. When that person called it those names and whore and those kind of things, those words stay. And whereas you might, for another woman that maybe that was dragged and beaten, she might maybe really remember the beatings.
Yes.
But for me, the words haunted me a lot.
Yeah.
And some of the physical abuse.
Mm-hmm.
The sexual abuse is another one. But
Mm-hmm.
you tend to kind of put the sexual a little side because you would say, maybe it wasn't sexual, it wasn't rape because that was my husband or my boyfriend.
Mm.
But that's a lot of women would think that way. But once you say no, whether it's your husband or your boyfriend, you said no, it is rape.
Right.
Once it was forced, it is rape. So this is
Right.
another one that to me that is a lot of me. The sexual abuse and the verbal abuse.
Well, tell me, what if I asked you, what is your story?
My story is people say, why do they love these men? They never come. Men don't come to you and show you your true colors. They're gonna come to the nicest. They're gonna charm you. The best flowers, the best gifts, the best everything. Whatever you're looking for in a man, that's what the person gonna come to you with. That's why you're gonna attract to that person. And you feel that the person loves you. They're gonna show you that love. They're going to show you that love.
So in the beginning, you're saying you met this lovely gentleman.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Kind, quiet, calm, gentle.
Mm-hmm.
The most, and you say, okay, I think I met Mr. Right. Take you out to dinner. You go out to dinner, you dance, you wine. You had some, what you never had when you were in your teens. You have it in your 20s. So you're thinking, all right, I have met Mr. Perfect, Mr. Right. All right, you met Mr. Right. They promise you sit down and your plan is not to say the abuse is not going to start 1, 2, 3 months in the relationship.
It did not start within 3 months. Yes.
No. The abuse is not going to start 1 to 3 months in the relationship. It's going to go when the relationship is deep. They're gonna wait for you to fall in love deep with them, so that when they start that abuse, it's difficult for you to leave. Because like most people, when they fall in love, you have your husband. If you have quarrels, and because you have a quarrel, I'm just going to walk away from my husband. You're going to find a way to talk it over.
So in the beginning, you're saying when you did have quarrels,
not
you
much
would
really. Quarrel wasn't really the relationship. That wasn't really. There was no quarrel. But when I met him from I was in another country, and I decided, say, why don't you come to my country, where you're closer to, because I left my kids to go look for a better life. Why don't you come to my country where your kids can come over to live with you, your parents can come with your family, you can easily go back home. So I say, okay, it really sounds nice, because where I was at the moment, I couldn't get to see my kids.
Yeah.
So, because my kids are not his kids. My kids are not my ex-husband's kids. So I said, that's some good. I parked and I decided I'm going to move to this country. Moved to the country. I was welcomed into this big home, my home, whatever. Yeah. And then I never said hungry, no quarrel. Everything was just nice. And I was taken all over to the country. I won't give the country name, where this is my wife, my beautiful wife, and I'm the most beautiful black lady you can think of, and boast about who I am. And then I wasn't working then, because now I'm in another country. I left my job and I moved to another country, not working. And I was like, I need to work. I need to make my own money. I'm a person, my kids are independent. So why you not helping me get a job? That's how it started. Why you not helping me get something? Because remember, I don't know the country.
Right.
So he's like, it's hard to get a job. I said, I don't want to depend on you financially for myself and my children. You give me food. I need to take care of my kids and my family back home. Okay, that's how it started. Anyhow, I did get a job. From the time I started getting that job, and I started leaving the house, that's when it started. So it took a few months. That was almost a year, a year plus in the relationship now. Now I started working for my own money. It was very small. I said, why you working? I said, I don't care. I don't care if I work for $50. $50 better than $0. He can take care of my kids. He can buy them something and send for them and buy milk. I can send for my mom.
Right.
When I send the US to EC, she have $100 something $80 in her hand. So
That's
I don't care. It's about my children. Anyway, I started working, things going, and then it started like, so why do you have to dress so to go to work? What do you mean? Why do I dress so? Why do you think why do you have to put all the makeups and think you're the most beautiful? I say, yes, so I would like, yes, I'm the most beautiful woman on the earth. Why do you dress like, you don't buy, I would answer and say, you don't buy, but still on, I'm not taking that on, like is abuse going to happen there. I have no idea. I said, what do you mean? I said, but I'm a person that very insistent. I said, I'm a person that don't like people tell me what to do. So that was my kind of mentality too. I say, you don't tell me what clothes to put on.
Right.
So as soon as I wash, I put. So I started. So I was. As soon as I wash, I put it back on. I said, you don't tell me what clothes to put on. You say, if you buy clothes for me, that's fine. But when I buy my clothes, you tell me what clothes to put on. I find you out of place, but still not taking it. But it wasn't said in a way of argumentative way.
Right.
It was just like a nice way. You said, no,
You
I don't
thought
mean it in no
you
way.
thought you were just having banter, regular relationship back and forth banter.
Yes, right. But and after I think this is what abusers do. I guess he was appeasing me, trying to know who I am, because I believe, I'm not a doctor, you one. These type of people don't go to any woman and love any woman. I think they pick the women. They pick the women to know, because it's not any woman they're able to banter. There are some women that can fight like a man.
Right.
They will never go to a woman. So I think they choose the type of women, the kind ones, the quiet ones, the one that will like, it's okay, and because I'm that kind of person too.
Yes.
And I think that's how I think they pick their abusers. So everything was fine, and I started working, and it's like everything started to change, and when I get paid, I said, you need some money for what? I said, but you have your money. Like, why do you want my money? I know. I said, I can only give you $10. I become the $10 lady.
What does that mean?
Because I can only give $10.
Yes, yes.
And they only come and ask for that money at the end when every time I get paid. I said, my money's to take care of my children. Not to you supposed to take care of your home. My money's to take care of my children back home. So the most I can give is $10. I become the $10 lady. I said, that's fine to become the $10 lady. And then it started so. But with all of that, I won't stay hungry. No, he would just say, leave me hungry, or that's going on. But still, I think he's trying to, no violence to start yet. Until he started like, oh, where have you been? I said, what do you mean, where have you been? I was with your sisters and them. No, you were with like, what do you mean I was with a man? I don't understand what you're talking about. With a man where? I was with your sisters. What are you talking about? I like call your sisters and ask where I was. I know what you're talking about. And then still, oh yes, I think you with a man. Okay, I get a better job now. I get a better paying job where I make a lot of money now. Oh, things that need to change there now. You have to start paying the bills and the lights and this. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna pay light and water. I said, because we have system, we don't have government water and whatever. So I don't want to go into the to this side where the person was. And I'm like, I have to take care of my kids. I can't stop listening. I have to take care of my kids. He said, everything for you is about it. I said, yes. Anyway, things go nice. He said, why don't you send for your children? I like, maybe I might just take my daughter, because she's a little girl, and I think, and my boy would be with my mom, because my mom had them, and maybe with his dad. And I would take my little girl. Took her, and I tell him, okay, for the summer, when school closed, leave her thing, I will go and get her, and I'll bring them up. My parents would come up and spend, but my mom would come up with them and spend summer with me. Everything was nice, and it's like, he started leaving the house and going for a whole weekend. And I was like, okay. And when we come back, that's when he started making noise. Get out of my house. I said, what do you mean? I said, what did I do to you? Get out of your house. You leave and go for an entire weekend. And you come back, I have not tell you your eyes white or black. I go to work, I come back. I don't say a word to him. That's me. I will stay silent. I can stay silent for days and don't say a word. So he doesn't know what I'm thinking. I didn't ask him where you come from. Oh, but you're not speaking to me. I said, but you left the house for an entire weekend. I didn't hear from you. I have nothing to say to you. I go to work, I come back, I do what I have to do. And he said, it's like, That's where the argument starts. Oh, I think you need to get out of my house. You're no good. And then the men at the work taking you and whatever, whatever, whatever. And
So
then
lots
you
of
think,
accusations
yes,
without
accusations
evidence.
without any proof. So I like, okay, so then I like, I think you're just a whore, and I this and that. And so I started rebelling now. I like, oh, I'm a whore?
Yes.
I'm a whore. I'm a big whore. I was like, yes, I'm a whore. I would answer back
Yeah.
really nasty. But so now I'm getting angry now because now you start calling me names, which I'm
Right.
not. I like, you don't call me those kind of names. Yeah, I'm not. So I started answering, and I would give him back some really nasty answers that hurt him
Yes.
because you started to hurt my feelings. You hurt my feelings. They're calling me those kind of names there. And I give him some really, really bad answers I don't want to see, something I don't want to see because I would call him. But so now answering back was the worst thing, is the worst thing you can do. That's when they're going to start getting really angry because they don't like you to answer them back. So nowadays, when they're going to use the force on you.
Yes.
And then it started with quarreling, and then get out of my house. And I would get out, I would just take and just go out, and they would change the locks on the door. And I'm like, okay. But I don't care because I have my kid, just walking. I have my job, I go to my job, and I'm making
Yes.
my money. I'm taking care of my children. That was my main goal. I have to work to take care of my children. So I don't
Yes.
care what you do or say. And it's like, why are you ignoring me now? I'm like, why are you ignoring me? I'm like, what do you mean? But before all of that, we did a lot of things together in the house. We planned to
Yes.
build a house, money in the bank, buy things
So
in the house,
pause,
decorate the
pause for a
house, everything
second.
together.
So pause for a second. So you see, so what you're describing is the mix of what part of it is sane and rational, and as a couple, we're making plans together to buy a
Yes.
house, build a house. But in the midst of this, you have this back and forth where what is what regular people understand is abusive. Your mate leaves the house and goes off for days on end, and you have no idea
No
where they
idea.
are. Calls you names, makes accusations,
Possessions,
very
proof.
painful accusations, because most of us, I mean, who wants to have a relationship that's not working? It's
Exactly.
very, very painful to hear your mate accuse you of being with somebody else when you know you've not been doing this. And this is a
Yeah.
tactic many people use, many
Yes.
abusers use.
Because I think they take what they are doing and they spin it around to make it look like you are the one doing it. So they spin it around. That's their mentality they use against you. Because
Hmm.
if you go out for a whole weekend, if there's something wrong you want to do.
Exactly. The sky would fall if you
Exactly.
did. Yes.
Right. And
Yeah.
then it started that way and then just get worse and worse. And
Was there a
like
point you became afraid? Was there a point
there was a
when you
time
afraid?
yes, when the physical abuse started, it started like, don't answer me. This is my house. Get up. Before I say get out of the house, and these are things I want to give a little advice to young people. As I always tell my daughter, as I say, you see the word a man, get out of my house? That word is a phrase that haunts my life from
Mm,
till I could settle my life. I tell her, never make a man tell you that, get out of my house. I say, go
mhm,
to school and learn and buy your own house. And turn
mhm,
that table around, let that man tell that man, get off your house. Because you know why
mhm,
your mom have heard that, get out of my house so much. Those are words I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear.
mhm,
Never make a man tell you that. You hear me? Never. And I tell my son too, never, never. I say, like, she as a lady, because a man go to
mhm.
work and you have to leave the house. But she as a lady, I say, buy your own house.
Yeah.
I say, if you want to give your house, fine, but buy your own house. Let it be yours that you work hard for. Because mommy had heard that too many times in life. Get out of my house. Anyway, it started like that. And the abuse was so bad. The abuse was so bad. Sometimes when I think about it, I just cry. I remember as I was talking to you there 2 days ago. One of the abuse there are things I forget. So there are things I don't
Yes.
remember. Therefore,
Yes.
up to today, I was talking to my niece and one of my sisters, and they told me things they knew. And they said, Desde, you don't remember that? I said, no, I don't remember that. She said, you don't remember that, Auntie? I said, no, I don't remember that. But I'll bring it up tonight. She said, Auntie, but I remember that very well. And with the abusers too, I don't want to talk about myself too. They turn you into somebody that you're, if you're not. I became a person that is easily aggravated, and I'm a very calm person.
You became hypervigilant in response to the
Yes,
stress.
yes, and to people. If my sisters or them would call me and just tell me something, get me angry, I would just blow up on the phone on them. Bad. I would like blow up really bad. That's how I became.
Irritable.
Very, very irritable. I couldn't stand anybody telling me things to get that kind of way. So maybe that's why sometimes people don't go and talk to your abusers. But sometimes we get that way not because of our own fault. It's mentally affecting
Way
you.
to cope. It's the way you cope.
Right. That's why we get it. I used to, as I told, I remember if I was sleeping and somebody would call me after I left the relationship, my children, my parents, they could not call me. You cannot touch me in my sleep.
Yes.
I was like, huh. Now I can go through my sleep.
PTSD symptom. This is
Just
very easily
like
startled.
somebody's coming and I was going to get attacked. That's how I used to be sleeping. Just like that and it stayed like that for years, even after I left the relationship. That's how I was. It took me years. Imagine, it took my daughter to tell me, Mommy, you know when I call and I touch you and you're sleeping, you don't act that way no more. She was the one to realize that, Mommy, you don't act that way no more. Remember when we used to call you and we couldn't touch you? And I would like, no, don't call me myself. Yes.
Reset.
Mommy, you don't do that anymore. I say, but you know what? Really, I did not even realize that I'd passed that phase in my life.
Yeah.
So then the abuse started with, I remember for one instance, I remember what I can advise. When you're in an abusive relationship, people say, why don't they hit back? I learned you never become angry like them. That's the worst. They pick up a knife.
Why did you say that?
You cannot go and pick up a knife. You cannot do that. You will lose your life. And I will tell you why I say that. I can't remember vivid what was the argument about. But I remember with an argument and I just snapped and I went to the kitchen and I get this butcher knife. And he told me, he said, you taking a knife from me? And he ran to me. When he ran to me, he's stronger than me.
Absolutely.
He snatched that knife off mine so we could have wrestled, and he took that knife and the knife was on my throat. If I just did that, just do that, I think I wouldn't be sitting here right here today.
Yes.
And I just tell myself, I said, to myself, not even breathe, calm down. Do not get angry. But I always speak to myself, do not get angry. And he spit in my face, with the knife on my throat, spit in my face 3 times. I said, that's okay. I said, do whatever you want to, but that's okay. But I tried to calm him down so that knife don't go in my throat.
Right. You're trying to save your life in the moment.
Yes. I would die. And then he calmed down and he slammed the knife down. I stayed really calm. I left, I go in the bedroom and I start packing my thing. Where you going? You're not living, you're my wife. You're not leaving this house and go. No, we went for a 2x4. The 2x4 people don't know what the frames does is to the door. But I'm a person, I have premonitions. If I see a glass that I was like, take off the glass, I think that glass is going to fall and break. I have to take it off. And when I saw him come into the bedroom, I was in the bedroom, starting to pack my things. I was like, not a word to him, just packing my things in a garbage bag.
Yes.
Because he burned all my suitcases. They were burnt a long time ago. So no luggage I had because
control to power.
Yes. And he came in and I saw him coming. And when he came in, he had the 2x4 in, and I see my head split in 2 and I see blood splattered in the bedroom. And all I could say, if you hit me with that hood, you're going to kill me. Calmly and nice. And I will put my clothes back. I won't leave. That's what I put on my clothes back. I said, I'm going to put my clothes back. I'm not going anywhere.
Again, to save yourself in the moment.
To save myself. I say, I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to. And I say, if you hit me with that, you are going to kill me. Because from my head, it was coming. And I saw it by it split and blood spattering. I don't know what went through because I was calm. He took the 2x4, like he just chucked it in my arm, like this, and then he went outside and threw it outside. And he went to his computer and he went to sleep. And then the next day was like, I'm going to work, and it's like, Desde, what's wrong? Nothing happened. I don't
So
see
you're saying
anything.
somebody said to you, "What's wrong?" They noticed your arm.
He,
Mm-hmm.
he's the
He,
one. He's the one. They said, "What's wrong with you?" I said, "What do you mean? What's wrong with my
yes,
arm?" He said, "What happened to
yes.
your arm here?" I said, "Do you know what's happened to my arm?"
Mm-hmm.
I said, "I think you have a problem. Something is wrong with you." Okay, that's it. And I had my phones, and we let's go to the phones. And I had my phone.
Yes.
Phone stopped work. My laptop stopped. My iPad stopped work. Hack everything of my email. Everything was hacked.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, we'll go to that hacking part. That is, and after I leave the island and
Yes.
went back home, is another story where he was so good at everything. And I was like, oh my God, what am I going to? I remember the days I cried. I would go up in the bushes and I would just cry and I say, Father, and I would pray. And I
Mm-hmm.
would see him look in the middle of the night, 1 o'clock in the morning, and I would be in the rain crying. And I say, Father, get me out of this situation. What am I in? But if I leave, what am I going to do? With all of this, I hiding this to my parents. My parents doesn't know. My family doesn't know at that time what I'm going through. They
And
get to know.
you're not telling them
I'm not telling them.
because.
Because the mother that I have, she would worry and she would start crying.
Mm-hmm.
I would not want my mom to go through that crying.
Mm-hmm.
And I know they would come and get me in a sense, but I
Mm-hmm.
want to be independent, make my money to take care because I like to help my family. I want to help my
Mm-hmm.
children. My mom have my children.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm making my money. I have my own
Mm-hmm.
money. That is the thing. I'm financially stable. I'm with my own money. I have my own home. I
Mm-hmm.
don't want to go back to my home. And then my life story also being home,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to go too deep in that part.
Yeah,
I also
you
come
don't.
from a home where
Yeah.
my mom was abused.
Mm-hmm.
So where am I going to go? I don't want to go back home and because
Mm-hmm.
my mom was also being abused. I don't want to go home
Mm-hmm.
because we all separated and was on my own at a very young age. At 15, I was on my own. At
Mm-hmm.
15, fending for myself.
Mm-hmm.
So where am I going to go when I have a job and I'm making good money
You wanted
and I
to
have a
make it.
home?
You wanted to
I
prove
want
your ability to take care of
to
yourself. You didn't want
self.
to add pressure to your
No,
relatives. Yeah.
nobody, no.
Mm-hmm.
And it went on like that, the fighting and the quarreling and some I lose a lot of times I would ignore. I would just ignore. And I remember once too, we had an argument over I can't even remember the argument from. I remember it just jumped in my throat.
Mm-hmm.
I was choked so hard. That time my daughter was with me. She was outside in the backyard playing. My
Mm-hmm.
phone was on the bed. And she will happen to be running and seeing through the window and she said, like, you're killing my mommy, you're killing my mommy. Let go my mommy. And she said, Mommy, like, she said, Mommy, and she said, Mommy, where's your phone? She was about 6 years at that. Where's your phone? Where's your phone? I gotta call the police. Say, let go my mommy, you're killing my mommy. I couldn't answer because I was choking.
Yeah.
And she went and she did call the police, She was 6 years. She did
Wow.
call the cops. And the cops did come and they say, and I listened to some people say that what the cops do nothing. The cops
What are
cannot do
your
most
thoughts?
of them
What are
domestic
your
violence.
thoughts on that? What are your thoughts
You
on
know,
that?
the cops really cannot do anything with domestic
And you say
violence
that because.
because I called the cops several times and they told you that because that's what they say. Only when people say, oh, only when there's blood or when somebody die. Yes, because domestic violence is yes. I report something. They come to the house. There's no blood. No one is dead. There's no what are they gonna do? They're just gonna give your food. And usually they're going to go against your version. So really it's your
So
word
you're
against them.
saying that the abuser gives their story, you give your
Give your
story,
story.
and there's no evidence, there's
No
no
evidence.
nothing to show the police. There's nothing they can
Nothing
really
they
do.
can do. They can what they can do is to come and put peace
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
talk to you and tell
Mm-hmm.
you. I remember a lot of police tell me, no, miss, I think you should. I remember there was this cop. I don't know which country she was from. If it's Grenada, and she come to me and say, "You call so many times. Come, and we come
Mm-hmm.
here all the time. Why don't you go back home?" I said, "I
Mm-hmm.
understand what you're telling that. What you understand what I said, but this year said that. But really, there's nothing they can do. When
Mm-hmm.
people blame the police and they until most times when a person die or somebody get injured, that's when they can come because somebody's injured.
Mm-hmm.
There's
Mm-hmm.
nothing really they can do because it's your word against their word. And usually, for my part, from what I see, I can say these
Mm-hmm.
abusers. Do you know that they're afraid of the cops? They
Yes.
are very coward people. They are afraid of the cops. So whenever they tell me call the cops and they come, they're the most humble person. The cop
Yeah.
not even believe what you tell them
Yes.
because they're not seeing that in the person. They gone by the time they hear the police coming, you're on the phone. They
Yes.
come, they come, or they go and
Or
take a
sometimes
walk.
they leave. They
Yes,
leave. Yeah.
they go and take a walk. So now you
Mhm.
can just relate to the police or the police. What you gonna the police can go, what are they gonna arrest the person for? Your word against your word. You cannot arrest
Yes.
that person. It's not that's how the law is. And people blame the police. No. The police can yes, when something like that happened drastic, that's sadly that's how sad it is.
That's the
Sadly,
reality.
that's reality. That's when it happens that the police can do something. If they come and there's a gun and they see
Right.
the person with a knife attacking you, that is different.
Hmm.
Then they
Hmm.
because they see a weapon and whatever.
I think that's
But
a powerful
yes,
observation.
yes, they and that's what again and people say, oh, the police, we can't blame the police. And I was not in Dominica. This didn't happen in Dominica, so to say Dominica, I put in my hands for that was not the Caribbean
Right.
country.
Right.
So
Right.
the police, and usually most of the Caribbean countries have the same laws because of the we are the British. They cannot
Hmm.
do anything. I
Hmm.
remember even when I went to police station and when my eyes had they had choked me that my veins below my eyes had popped and I went to the police station and I went to the police and they say, Miss, there's nothing we can do. You are the one to take it to the thing. You are the one to take it further.
Hmm.
No, yes, we can take it further. Do you know how long it's gonna take for a domestic case to call? And then you're like, oh, you might need a lawyer. You don't have that
Hmm.
money. You don't have
Hmm.
time for that. So then you move on. You have your work. I had my work, so I move on. So people
Yeah.
say, why don't you move on? Why don't we leave? They, whenever you have a fight, the makeup, as people used to say, you get the best makeup. Not about sexual. You would
Right.
get, I would get
Treatment.
gifts.
Yes.
I
So
would
you
get
say
gifts.
gifts.
The pardon. I'm so
Yeah.
sorry. I'm so sorry. You're my wife. I love you. Help me. That kind of way.
This is important what you're saying, and I want to talk a little bit about it. This is a good time for us to take a little breath, have a little drink. Mm.
Yes.
Y'all, thank you for paying attention and listening to Desde share her story. I shared today the pattern or a classic pattern in domestic violence, and I want to read it. Just hold on for a sec. I want you to have an idea of what a woman like Desde is living through, the cycle that she's living through, she was living through. She was living through in a married relationship. In a married relationship. Okay, so the abuse happens, the verbal abuse, the physical abuse, you get hit, you get called a nasty name, you get accused by something. You, of course, have a response, right? Their response, the abuser's response is to feel remorseful. What happened to your arm? Like you say,
Mm,
were we
yeah.
there together? We were there together.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to do that to
Do
you.
that.
What happened? My anger got the better of me. I am so sorry. They might even go so far as to tell you, but you said something to me that made me so angry that I just had to. I couldn't control my temper, but I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. Remorse, guilt, apologies, promises, justifying excuses.
Mhm.
And then you come into a honeymoon phase where it's like it is so calm. This we're back in love again. I've
Yes.
got all of these gifts. He's on his best behavior. He's trying. He's the best husband. Let's
Yes.
go out.
Mhm.
Let's go on a trip. Affection, adoration, gift giving, helpful compliments. But then we start moving into a tension phase where it starts building up again. Hmm? They start getting a little moody,
Mhm.
nitpicky. The problem here? Why did you move the glass here? Why didn't you wash the glass? Why did you cook the food with so much salt this time? You know I don't like this. Why are you late? I told you already, I don't like it when you comb your hair this way. I've had women say they wanted me to dye my hair black. I need you to wear this. This is not going to work for me. The criticisms, the threats, the mind games, the gaslighting, where they start telling you, how did this happen to you? I'm not like this. This is not me. Your
Mhm.
reality, your reality. And then you have the explosion where almost like a balloon. the tension pops. So sometimes the abused person might actually be the one to pop that balloon. Where after you've done it for so many times, if you just pop the balloon, if you just do something to just get them angry enough
Mhm.
already, so they explode, then we can go back into the remorse. We quote unquote fall back into the honeymoon phase again, and I get a relief. So you're describing to us that cycle of domestic violence. So tell me again, you said he would do the horrible thing and then gifts.
Yes.
Yes.
Like, I'm leaving. I'm going home. Why are you going home? You have your kids to think. You have your children to feed. Who's going to take care of your kids? Who's going to take care of Dylan and Josie? You have your job. Now, you would tell me that. You have your job.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you want to leave your job and go to... Nobody's bothering you. Where are you going?
He's telling you
But
things that you know that any reasonable person would be worried about too.
yes. He's
Yeah.
using that with me. That why you your
Mm-hmm.
children. So, yeah. But strangely, a lot, he would go and drink. Strangely with him. I know a lot of people say they might go and drink.
Mm-hmm.
If he drank every day of his life, I don't think we would have never have a misunderstanding.
Mm. Because for
When
him,
he
when he drank,
when he drink alcohol was the calmest. It's like it's a whole different person when he drink.
mm,
He would never use a bad word. He would never strike anything bad. You would
that is
never
very.
get an abuse time from him when he's drunk. If you got
Mm-hmm.
party, never.
And you know
Which
what?
was
That's one
very
of the reasons we say domestic violence, the experience is just individual
different.
for
Yes,
every
for
person.
everybody. Which
Yes.
is different when it comes to alcohol. That part of him, he
Yes.
could drink every day. He would never hear a bad word from him.
Yes.
This is what this is. He would say, "This is the person this is the husband I want in my life."
Mm-hmm.
He would do
Exactly.
anything
Yeah.
in the house, anything for you. I could go to Mars and come back. I would never
Yes.
get the abuse.
So
But
so when people say, "Why do you stay?"
right, when people say, "Why do you stay?" For me, okay, let me say for me personally.
Mm-hmm.
For me personally, because as I told you, I come from a broken home. I
Mm-hmm.
was on my own at 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of the most stable life I had. And
There you go.
I had two kids at a very young age.
Mm-hmm.
I had two by 25 years I had my two kids. And
Mm-hmm.
they have always been my priority.
Mm-hmm.
And stigma too. Stigma
Yes.
in society. I remember, and you know what we went through. As a young, I don't want to go through,
I
but I
do. I
remember. I will tell you what happened to me when I was stigma too.
do.
Makes us stay too. What people are
Yes.
going to say, society. What people are going to say. What
Right.
people are going to think.
Right.
I'm not kind of. All I am a person right now. I don't care what people think. But when I was young,
Yes.
um, I remember when we were young. I had my kids very young. If you remember in cottage, we
Mm-hmm.
were my mother children were one of the youngest children to have children in cottage at that time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I
Mm-hmm.
remember once I heard a few people in the village, ladies, young people like our age, would say that's
Mm-hmm.
all we do. That's all they do up on the hill, make
Mm-hmm.
children.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
we did have it, but why did we
Mm-hmm.
make? Yes, we did have children young. Me and my
Yeah.
sisters, we had children
Yeah.
young, but we were on our
Yeah.
own because you know what we're going through. So stigma.
Mm-hmm.
And I always wanted to prove I want to make the best of my children. I don't want my
Yeah.
children to grow up how I grew up. I wanted the best of my children. Although I could have, we had a good life, but there's a lot of story. So
Yeah.
stigma in society too.
Yeah.
Like
And
I'm a
I
person.
can appreciate that.
Yes, stigma in society that we people go what people gonna say and people and then
Plus, you're saying
also
also your individual history and
yes for me my
the
individual
decisions you made based on your individual trauma story,
yes
trauma
helps yes
history. Yes.
because
Yes.
because when you come from a that trauma you're looking for stability as a young person too. I'm
Yes.
also looking for stability a home of my own and I had
Yes.
that
Yes.
and also I had a little strength in me in the sense that I had my there's something my father always instilled in us as growing up. Let your siblings be your best friends. So we're
Mm-hmm.
very close. So
So
then I
lean
started
on.
letting them know. So
Mm-hmm.
I had a sibling very close by. My eldest sister
Mm-hmm.
was very close by. So
Yeah.
she was my right hand. I love her so much. I know she's listening.
Yes.
So I know that, and she was close by, I could run to whenever I
Yes.
had anything. So I know I had somebody there for me. So I could go and stand and come back. So you can put me out, but I don't care. I have my sister I can run to very close by and come back to my
Yes.
job. And also his family. His family, they stood by my side. They
Yes.
really stood by my
Us
side. I call them,
family.
yes.
Yes.
I had just like Desde, and they were like, and I had one two friends. They said, Desde, stay and work. Don't argue with him. Ignore him. Please, you have to work for your children. So there are times, but you can ignore something to a certain extent.
Yes.
So, and then it become money abuse, that sexual abuse. I am a believer in abortion because of my life situation when it comes to sexual
Mm.
abuse. Sexual abuse from
Mm.
your husband. It's rape. It is just simply rape.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
if you say no, you're not going to fight with me and call me honey and you're going to touch me. But
Yes.
he was the most time that you cannot say no to them. You can't say no to me. You're my wife. I own you.
Yes.
And the struggle and the wrestle and the ripping of the clothes and the tearing of clothes, and I would cry, and the blue black marks. And then you go to work with this man, and I'm like, I used to say, if I ever get pregnant from you, I will abort
Yes.
that child. Because I'm not going to let my child raise up born in that kind of, this is not love. I would say, this is not love.
Yeah.
So this is why I'm a believer in abortion. I know this is me. I believe in abortion 100% for the situation. Because I would
Yeah.
tell myself, if I ever get pregnant, I used to say to him in his face, I would never carry that child. I don't want
Yes.
my child to have your name and your surname. That's what I used to say to him. And this would get him angry too.
Yes.
He would get angry. And I said, I don't care. And get angry, want to fight me. And I said, I don't care what you do, but I'm not going to carry a child for you. This is rape. I said, this is rape.
Yes.
Some of it's so intense that I cannot even say some of it on the thing. That
Yeah.
you could be the rape was so bad that I could be hospitalized. It was so bad. And then after my family, my sisters, and then everybody they get to know my dad. I remember my daughter went home. I sent her back home. I didn't want her to see me fighting, and she went home and she told my parents. That's when my parents found out. And I remember all of my dad told her this. And I remember I get a call from my dad. He said, hello. He said, Joseph told me that you're hiding from us and you've been good for her. Listen to me. That's my dad.
Yes.
Telling me that.
Yes.
I didn't raise you to let anybody abuse you. Someone that abused
Yes.
my mom.
Yes.
I didn't raise you to let any man abuse you. You have a home. You come home.
Yes.
My door is open to you. You come home. That's my dad was telling me that. I cried because I couldn't believe I could hear those words from my dad telling me that to come home. But he did tell me that. I didn't listen. Like when I really moved, is that when I told you he had the knife and he spit in my face. And I remember I was watching a show of Mike Tyson and Robin Given just before that happened to me.
Yeah.
And she was talking, I remember, and she said he spit in her face. And that's exactly what happened to me. And she said, she said that was the when she said it's enough. And that's I said to myself, that is it. I'm gone. I call a friend and I say, can you go get me 2 bags?
So we're talking about how do women leave now? How do we leave?
When you have to live in silence. You have to live
I need you to say that again. I need you to say that again. Because
you
there's
have to live in silence.
Because
if they find out you're going to do, you're dead. I think you're going to be dead. That's why I think they're going to kill you.
Yes.
To me, I think if I had left even you, I think I would be dead. You have to live in silence. You also you have not to care. You have to forget about material things. At that time, I forgot about my children. I forgot about job. I forgot about everything. I don't care. I say, God, if it's by will, get me out of this place. If it's by death, I mean, not by he killing me or me killing me. If I have to die naturally, that's what I mean. Not by the I never want to think of. But do you know that being abused can also make you suicidal?
Absolutely.
You as the abuse can make you suicidal.
Absolutely.
Because I thought there was once he thought I was suicidal. Because that times I would just go up in the bushes, but just to pray, be myself.
Yeah.
And they were like, what are you going there to do? You're gonna you think I'm gonna hurt myself for you? I say you must be crazy. But I
Yes.
go sit down in the bushes and pray, and
So
just to get away from him.
the risk of death is highest for a woman in an abusive situation when she's leaving.
When she's leaving and when you answering back.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
When you
Yes.
answer them, you aggravate them and you just enrage them.
Yes.
And you never, and when you're answering back and you're fighting back and you're leaving, these four things: answering back,
Yes.
trying to leave, and fighting them back.
Yes.
Because you're trying to protect yourself, but these are the wrong things we do. And people say, why do we stay? Some people, it's hard. Imagine you have your kids and you have 3, 4 kids. Where you gonna go? Who's gonna take care of your kids? I remember I went to a certain country, and when I went to my eyes, my eyes were so sick. I went to the doctor. The doctor
Yes.
there, because
When
some
your
countries
eyes
that
were
have,
sick, remind us
yeah,
that your eyes were sick as a result of an
of
abusive
the choking. And
incident.
the doctor said as a result of the choking, so my eyes were like
Yes.
fire, and he said the veins
Yes.
underneath were popped. And the
Yes.
doctor said, what did happen? He said, you were choked. And he
Yes.
said, do not go back. He said, there are places for abandoned women. You can go. Doesn't matter if you're undocumented. Do you have kids? I said, yes, I have kids. My kids are not with me. He said, so don't go back. He's going to kill you. I remember the secretary of that doctor. That lady did not even know me. She cried. She come out and she saw my. She came. I was
Mm-hmm.
leaving and she come out crying. He said,
Mm-hmm.
Miss, don't go back. Please don't
Mm-hmm.
go back. He's gonna kill you. She said, if you take him to the courts,
Mm-hmm.
anything, we'll have your papers, everything, the doctor papers will be there. He said, go to I don't want to give the place. If I give
Right.
we battle many
Yeah.
people will know what country it is in.
Mm-hmm.
There are places
Mm-hmm.
they will take you in, they'll give you job, they'll help you to get over it. They have psychologists, they will help you to think. I like, no, he did preach to me. I said, no, I have my sister. I'm gonna go for
Mm-hmm.
my sister. I'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
And I went for my sister. Get better. By the time 2 days after, 6 o'clock in the morning, my sister is like, he's at the front door of my sister.
A different country or the same country?
He's a different country because I could film at a different country, right? But it's close by. And
Yes.
I went to the doctor. He said, my sister, like, what are you doing at my door?
Yeah.
Come for my wife. Like, what did the doctor say to you? What happened? I want to know, what did the doctor say to me? You have money. You had enough money to buy medication. You have any medication to buy in the other country? I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yes.
Are you kidding me? I like, my sister, like, get out of my door before I do something to you, because these people can also make your family turn violent.
That's right. Reactive
Because
abuse.
they're trying to your family trying to protect you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because I remember my son was 13 years, and he said, Mommy, when I grow up, I'm going to go back to such country. I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
kill him, my
Mm-hmm.
son. And like, but I left him. I said, listen here, come here, Mommy, talk to you. Mommy's not going to leave you. Mommy's not promise you she's not going to go back. And I don't
Mm-hmm.
want you to ever repeat that. I left, and Mommy promised she's not going back. You have your life. You're going to be a good boy, and you're not going to ever, ever, ever repeat that, because you're going to go in jail. Now, I was talking as we talk about jail. I remember there are so many times I could become a murderer.
Yeah.
I remember I get up, voices used to be speaking to me. And I remember a certain night, a time, a voice get up, and I wake up and she said, get up, Desde. And I wake up. And it was like, I mean, real, not dream.
Mm-hmm.
Get up and go, a voice, then go in the kitchen, put a pot of hot oil and pour it in his
Mm-hmm.
ears. Another voice telling me, don't do that. But the voices are speaking to me, don't do
Mm-hmm.
that. He's not going to die. You're going to go to jail. Your mom is going to cry. You're going to lose your children.
Mm-hmm.
Another voice said, don't listen to that voice. Go do it. He's going to die. There's no way he's going to survive that hot oil. Boil it and pour it in his ears. And I answered back like, no, I can't do this. No, I can't do this. And from there, I started sleeping with my eyes. One eye's open, one eye's closed. One eye's my nuts have nights because I'm just not trusting him. Like, why are you not sleeping? He would ask, why are you not sleeping? I said, because I don't trust you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what you're going to get up in the night and do. I don't trust you.
Yeah. So now, how did you leave?
I
How did?
left. I packed my clothes and I went. I decided, I left. After I left, his sister told me, Desde, why don't you go to America? Why don't you get a visa and leave this country? I have no one to go to America to.
Mm-hmm.
She said, but just go get a visa. I said, but how am I going to get a visa? She said, I'm going to help you. She said, I'm going to help you. That's his sister. I'm going to help you. She did everything here. You have an appointment. I said, I don't have no money. I don't have no bank account. My bank account is closed. She said, don't worry. I went to the bank and the girl said, no. All I had was a ticket money.
Mm-hmm.
The girl said, Miss, I talked to the girl at the bank. She said, I'm going to help you. And when you're about to, you need help. People try to walk away. Even if you resist the help, people have to continue to help because it's a hard thing to just walk away. So when you have children and you have to feed your children, you have a home, what are you going to do? And people sometimes don't take you in.
Right.
Like in our country, Dominica, there's nowhere for a battered woman to go. Where she's going to go?
Mm-hmm.
Where we have no home for them.
Yes.
Domestic where are they going to go? And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes family don't want you. And you think they're not going to take care of your 3 children, your 4 or 5 children in.
Mm-hmm.
So they stay in the people say, why do this? This is the reason sometimes why they stay. Because who's going to take them? Who's going to feed them and their children? People are not going to feed them and their children.
Mm-hmm.
Or what the days of before where we would help each other, those days are gone. People would welcome you. And I remember when I was young and as I tell you, I was on my own. I remember my friend, and I'll call her name Judy Froman. I remember her.
Yes.
And she shared a bed with me.
Yes.
And she shared a lunch with me.
Yes.
And because Miss Cousin Mom died today, may she also rest in peace, and she'd make sure she leave a lunch for me.
Yes.
And I remember my friend Sandra from Portsmouth, and when I had to stay down for school, after school, she would share lunch with me.
So the community
people don't do that. People don't do that no more. So right now, the battered women know there's no way for them to run a family sometimes. Sometimes maybe the family might, but sometimes when you go out, people they reproach, they tell you things. So then people tend not to go, even if they want to. They're like, I rather stay in there and go through it on my own because I didn't really have that. I could leave. And I decided to leave. As I say, I left. I packed my clothes. I called a friend of mine. I said, you know what? Anything. I put my clothes in the bushes. And I called this friend and he came. He helped me very well. And may he so rest in peace. And he said, come on, don't cry. Don't let people cry. Don't let anyone see you crying. He said, I'll take you to your sister. I'll take you across to your sister. Here's some money. Yes. But before that, when I did everything, visa, my sister, she did everything for me. I get the girl at the bank say, Miss, you don't have to have money to get a bank account. Because you need that because they study that. She said, put your ticket money on there and leave it there for 2 days. Just stay there for 2 days. Let it stay there. I'll give you that. Come and get it. And as soon as I give it to you, withdraw that money. You have the act, that's all. She said, they're not going to call to see whether you have that visa.
You got access to information and resources.
Yes. And I did that. Just a ticket money. And I get that bank and I left. And I went home. I went home, took that flight, buy my ticket. That person helped me buy my ticket. I went to stay in Barbados. And as I told you, God works mysterious ways for people too. And I remember that day when I go for my visa. I told you that I was like, as I told you, that day, everybody they rejected. And I'm like, my goodness, I don't think I get that visa. And they don't go by an order, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They just call randomly. I didn't know I was like, I've been since 12 o'clock and it's 4:30 and I'm still sitting. Everybody's gone. I see people.
Many of us know that visa struggle in Barbados.
Yes. And I went there when I go. And then this other young guy was like, he was a business guy. They called him and I was there. And he said, Miss, good luck. And he go and do his business. And I went and I'm like, this girl, I don't want to go to this girl. I can't pick up my documents and she come. And there's nobody else in the embassy, just me. Everybody left. And then this Asian lady, white lady, and she called on. And strangely, the day was so bad. Every question they asked me for that visa is about this man. Not a question about me. But my husband, what do we do? And I make up stories. Every story was a lie I make up. Because I couldn't. And I know if he knew, I would not get a visa. So I had to do everything in silence. And the lady said to me, Miss, your visa is granted. When I walked out the door, I was just in tears. I was shaking because everybody that left there the afternoon did not get a visa. Because because by a slip, it will give you a slip. So what call a slip whether they get that granted that visa. I get that visa and I went. Okay, so there's a different kind of manipulation coming in there now with me. So now I left, I get to go home. I go. So I have this picture. You see what you put up there. I told you that green picture and that green. That's a special picture. That's when I left. It's about 2 weeks after I left. I was with my sister because I was
Yes.
like myself. I never tried to bring them myself. And this is one of my favorite pictures when I left it. And then how do I say it? The hacking started.
More
My
control.
email was
Yeah.
controlled. There's nobody control because you don't know where I am, you don't know my whereabouts. There was once I left. I used to go home every September and check on my kids for school. And I remember once he came to follow me because he said, I'm going to meet men. Like, it wasn't you're not in
He
Dominica.
left the island and came to
Come to
Dominica.
Dominica to look
Check
for
up
me.
on you.
Like,
Yes.
you're not in Dominica. Like, what are you talking about? He said, yes, of course I was in Roseau. Like, it was in Roseau. So I said, no, I'm making up stories. You want to look for me in Dominica? Really? I said, so I looked for the passport. This stamp wasn't the passport for true.
Yeah.
He did come, but he had no idea who to ask for because he know every caught it, but he went to the wrong bus stop. So the people don't know who he told. They don't know who he told. He himself that tell me that they said there are nobody such people in Dominica. So apparently maybe I went to the wrong bus stop. I don't know where he stepped, and he took the plane next day and he left Dominica in a form of control. So the thing is, my phone hacked. My sister's emails were hacked. Every sister of my email was hacked.
Wow.
Over and over. And I was like, my friend, I have a certain friend and say, what is wrong with you? Desde? Why you say this kind of thing? What kind of, like, what do you mean? You sent me, I sent you an email? He said, yes. So I said, but I can't even log in on my email. I said, oh my God, this is not my email.
So he is sending messages from your account.
From my account. My phone. Yeah. And when I left now, we could use our phone back in Dominica like a normal phone. They're just cable and wireless adjusting. So I still had that country phone. So because even if I call, it would be a normal call to Dominica. So I had that phone still. The phone was hacked. So he went to his country. So the telephone company tell him his wife would have a problem.
Right.
So he have everybody information, phone numbers I have.
Yes. And he starts what's called a smear campaign.
Yes. And then, so then when I left now, I get about 2, and after maybe about 3 weeks after, I get a call. And you unlock the phone. I heard that you went to Barbados for your visa. You're lucky because you have never gotten a visa. That's exactly why you would never know.
Yes.
And then, so you're not coming back so you get a visa, where you going to go? You're not coming back to your home and to your husband? Is that the thing? You don't think I love you, Desde? You don't think we need to go through counseling? You don't think, these kind of things. You have a job, you look another company, another hotel just call you. And
now at this point, what made you hold to your position and not return this time?
Because I just decided, I know if I go back, I think it would have killed me. I think it would reach the point where I would be dead. Because the knife, the
choking.
Because apart from that, there was the choking. There were other incidents where you dragged me, where I was dragged outside and throw my clothes outside, that kind of thing there, But those were the worst instances I can remember vividly, where I know where I see death in my eyes. That I decided, this is it. But deep down, you're still not over it. You're still not over that person, because that's your husband. You think you're over the person, but you're not.
Yes.
So you call, I will still talk to him. I would talk to him and tell him, talk. And he call late night to make sure you're home, what was your day? You have any money? He would send me money. He said, I don't want you asking anybody for money, because now you're thinking I'm going to get a man now. So I guess I'm going to you would send me whatever I want. Money, you did send me.
It's a process. So leaving, you're describing to us, is a process.
It's a process. Living is a process.
It's also mental and emotional.
Yes, it's a process. And then but when you leave, trust me, they will hunt you down to the end of the earth.
Do you have any experience of that? Like the people who talk about stalking, where they feel stuck.
Yes, they're going to stalk you. You cannot, for me, I don't think you can stay in the same proximity of that abuser. You have to try to go as far as they go. As far from them, because trust me, when you're thinking it, they will be knocking on your door. And like somebody's like, why don't you get your own apartment? And he said, but he himself say, okay, you don't want to stay in my home, why don't you get out of my apartment? I say, no, because you'll be knocking at 1 o'clock on the door. Because I was at your sister's and I move out, and 1 o'clock it was in your sister's door knocking, calling me, telling me, Desde, what are you doing there? Come to your home, come to your bed.
Come to your home, your bed.
Come to my bed.
These words.
Yes, come to your home. Why are you doing at people's home? You have your home. Come to your home. So you cannot stay close to these people. You cannot stay, because remember, the same time they're abusing you, but there's still a love relationship.
Yes.
Because love doesn't just slip away like that. It doesn't matter. Just like you have your husband, you're fighting, you're gonna have fights and quarrels. That doesn't mean you hate your husband. Your love just gonna die one like that. Love somebody, it's a process and it takes time to deal with that situation and say, I'm done, I'm over that person.
Yes.
If you really, it's not gonna end like this. So
give me an example, Desde, of real life, essentially long distance stalking.
Okay, I'll tell you the long distance stalking. There's so much. Up to yesterday, my sister told me, Desde, she really said, she said, Desde, a couple of years, I said, no, that she didn't tell me. Maybe they didn't want to tell me. Do you know that he called my phone? I'm like, what? Today she said, I'm like, what? And he said to tell, where's Desde? Till her documents come through, because in to get my whatever country passport or whatever I was gonna go through was in process, everything. Her documents, so I just wanted to tell her that she can give me a number. I'm in New York, married. Like, what are you saying? She did not tell me that. So her husband grabbed the phone and said, you better not call this number again, because I will come and get you where you are.
Yes.
And she said, never call again. And today she told me, I said, but you never tell me that. She said, maybe I don't want to tell you this for you to think about it. And that is years now. And then I end up in New York. I left to come to New York for 6 months. Bouquet of flowers. I remember I was home and the doorbell rang. And I'm like, what's this? I said, there's a flower delivery. I said, flower delivery? So okay, I go. And I said, for who? He said, for Desdemonia. I'm like, who the heck? No. Bring $1. I just, in New York, nobody don't really know me. I just get to know my way. I went downstairs, get the flower, read the note. Like, this doesn't make sense. I asked the guy, he said, he don't know. I said, no name is on the flower. I said, that doesn't make sense. So I call her room. I said, any one of all these flowers, let me know. I said, somehow it have to be him. I call the flower shop. I say, I'm calling, I just got a delivery to that address. And the lady said, I said, I'm just calling to find out if you could give me the information what I flower, because I don't know. I would like to know. She said, Miss, I cannot give you the person's name, but it came from the country she called. From his country.
There's only one person who could do this. Yes.
Oh,
yes.
I like, oh my goodness. So I realized now he got me via the internet. I get off. I don't think that Facebook and whatever we use, Skype and this thing they were using them at that time.
Yeah.
And mostly emails. I like, oh my God, he finds me. I get a little get off I log off. I never go on, get out of line, everything for a little while. Like, but how did he get me? I don't understand. But I know he's a computer freak, because he hacked my phone, he hacked my sister, all my sister's email. But my mom, my sister, every one of them email was like, every one of them could not think the email, because he wanted to find information where to find where I am. And then one day I get a call. But I was like, who is this person? Who that number? I don't know that number. I answered the call, because I guess they get my number through hacking the phone, because I would Skype and whatever with my sisters and them.
Your relatives, yes.
Ah, my goodness. A heart attack almost took me. The voice. Like, what are you calling me for? Where did you get my number? I said, why don't you leave me alone? He said, what are you doing in New York? Why don't you come home again? Somebody's going to kill you. A man is going to kill you. You better come home. And those kinds of things. I like, please, do not call me. I turned off the phone and I went to another phone company. I changed my phone company. So I still have that phone there still. I turned off that phone. I never turned it back on. So, but those were little phone companies. I went to a better phone company because those were little phone companies because they were cheaper. And I went to a different phone company where up to this day, I have not heard from him. And then
So
after that, I went home. But
you're giving me
you,
some real life
all that
strategy
time,
to
all that
survive.
time you think you're over. You're not over that
Yeah.
relationship.
Yes.
I
Yes.
remember I
Yeah.
went back after 6. I went back. I went back to his country. And I went
Mm-hmm.
back to his country and crossing the road. Low order, the first day I reached, but I had somebody saying, Desde, turn around. Here he is in my face.
And this is how many years after you had left?
That
Like
is,
how?
no, that was the first 8, 9 months after I left. I went back there.
So what was that
And
like for you to run
it
into?
was, what? That's when I know, that's when I know everything was over. The
Mm,
relationship, marriage, everything. And I could stand strong on my
mm-hmm.
own. I felt independent. I felt free when I saw him.
Yes.
And I was like, yes. He said, I want to talk. Why you had people home? I say, well, I say, you have a home. I say, where? I don't have a home. So you have a home. You want to come to
Yeah.
your home. Why you had people's home? The same thing again. I say, can
Mm-hmm.
we talk? I say, I can talk to you. But I'll talk to you in the day and I will come over. You don't come, and I'll come over. We can talk. I went
Mm-hmm.
over and speak to him. I did speak everything. Everything I left, there was just as it made in my house. He said, that's your home. I left everything for you. Why don't you come over? Well, let's go to council, you, my wife, and whatever, whatever. And I looked at him, I say, it is over. I say, seeing you in person after but less than 9 months, I just feel liberated,
Mm-hmm.
free at last from
Yes.
you, from everything about you. And if you're hungry, I would feed you. And
Mm.
that's when no, I forgave him. I said, you know what? I forgive you for all what you did
Yeah.
to me. He turned
Yeah.
around and said, what did I do to you? I said, well, let's not go there. I said, let's
Yes.
not go there. I forgive you. If you're hungry, I will feed you. I won't give you a shelter in my home, but I will feed you. And I wish you the best in life.
Yes.
But it is over. And up to this 14 years, I have never seen nor heard him up to
Wow.
this present day. I went back to this country a few years after that, but even get sick.
So, so you described to us how a woman can leave. And I think what I'm hearing is a woman leaves with a lot of support and a lot of access to resources.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is one of the reasons why a lot of women stay too, because they don't have the resources.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have how are you going to move? Where are you going to go?
Mm-hmm.
Where are they going to go?
Mm-hmm. You need support,
They need
resource.
help. They need help. You have 3 children. Where are they going to go?
Mm-hmm.
You need people, and people have to always talk to these people, whether it's family, whether they don't listen to you. We cannot give up. They need friends. They need people to talk to. Even
So
if you
as
talk
you're
to them
looking back,
20 million times, talk to them. Keep on talking to them.
I want you to
Keep
start
on
looking
talking.
back. I want you to start looking back. Because like you say, you described the situation where you went back and you realized, okay, I think I've got this. I think I feel strong enough to keep moving forward. And I hear you start talking about what we could be doing for women now in the community experiencing this. Or can you keep talking about this? What can we as community do?
I remember when I went to the doctor. The doctor sent me to this thing. And he told me it was a private place. I mean, we think a lot of people talk about the government does nothing. The government cannot do everything. We're
Hmm.
the churches. We are the churches. We are the pastors. Why don't the churches come together and say, let's try to open a home, a
Hmm.
shelter for these battered women, and let's get help out there. There is help up there. There are a lot of the churches they can reach out to and help. Everything cannot be the government.
Hmm.
And you always, it's something I always tell myself. I played a lot. Now and then I played a lot. I say my husband. I'm married today now, happy. And I
Yes.
used to tell my husband that when I met him, I say, you never shout at me. There are some words you never use at me because I'll tell you, I'll pack my clothes, I'll be out of your life for
You set
good.
your boundaries
I
early.
set my grounds.
Yeah.
Never, I tell my never yell at me. I say, we do something wrong, talk to me. If I say
Mm-hmm.
something angry, you can take a drive and go and come back. And never swear at me.
Mm-hmm.
I say, because words haunt me, and I would not accept that.
Mm-hmm.
And don't even think about. And I want to another thing to the young people. I always tell my daughter that too. We as parents to have to talk to our daughters. I tell my daughter, you know, relationship, if it starts by the man quarreling with you, have your friends, go ahead,
Mm-hmm.
Andrea. Where you come from? What are you doing? I said, no. I'm like, no, that's where the control starts.
Yes.
That's where the control starts. I said, do not ever let that happen to you. I always tell her that, do not let that happen.
Timekeeping, this timekeeping of adult behavior. I'm an adult.
Yes.
What is this? Yes.
I said,
Yes.
look, I don't tell my husband I want to go somewhere. I say, honey, I'm going out with my friends. I'll be back.
That's right.
Tomorrow I'll be packing, I'll be leaving. I said, I'll see you on Sunday. I need to be out of here. That's what I tell
Yes.
my husband. I said, don't let have nobody questioning you where you have been, why you come out from work late. I like,
Mm-hmm.
no, you have your friends and you live your life. You have his friends, let him live his friend's life too. Let him have
Mm.
his friends, you have your friends too. Never
Yes.
like that. I said, if he starts, he swear at you, walk away.
Yes.
Walk away. The abuse, it starts
Because
verbally and it's going to get bigger and bigger. Walk away. I tell her every day. I tell my son, do not abuse women. I said, I'm not
mm-hmm.
going to tolerate you doing that because you
Mm-hmm.
told me you were 13 years you'd kill somebody for me. So don't do that to
Yeah.
another woman. If you have a girlfriend that doesn't get along, leave her alone. Respect a woman. Just so you love your mommy and you know you have to respect a woman. Do not do that. I will not tolerate it.
Mm-hmm.
So these are things we as parents to have to instill in our children. Not because you don't go through it, but you know it, so teach our children. We have to teach our children from now. And I try to teach I tell my daughter, they also women can be abusive. So
Yes.
you don't be abusive to your boyfriend either. Because
Yes.
women can be abusive. I don't want to hear you cursing your boyfriend on the phone. If you curse him, you abuse, and I will stand for him.
Yes.
I will
You
stand for him
stand
because
for
I'm
right.
not to
You will stand for
abuse.
what is right. When
That's
people
right.
ask, what do? You do the next right thing.
Thing. And she's them, she knows that. So you take it by I says I'll take off for him for you if it's you are the one being abusive because women can be abusive too. It
Yes.
goes vice versa.
Yes.
What I like, I instilled to my daughter. I always tell her that do not make a man ever man raise his finger on you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she's a tough cookie. She's not like me. It's one thing my husband has told me. I don't fit for Josiah, you know. My daughter name is Josiah because I don't think a man can put his hand on her. She always tell me, Mommy, what you've been through? I'll
Yeah.
punch him to the ground. If that man make a mistake and put his hand on me, I'll take him to the ground. And that's something she's gonna say. I'll never go through what make a man do what my mom had to go through because I'll punch him to the ground. But she's that kind of tough cookie. So, which is kind of as a mother, as she's my girl, I kind of like that she's that strong will woman. And I don't think an abuser will go for her either, yeah? You'll come for the
This is
mommy,
an
but not for her.
important point. This is an important point you make because abuse is about power and control.
Yes.
And it's the same way that people will abuse children. They look for the more
Yes, they look
vulnerable
for the
ones.
vulnerable ones.
They interview you for vulnerability.
Yes.
Mhm.
They know who to pray. They don't, these men don't go for any kind of women. They know
Mhm.
who to go for. And they can turn into a monster. They can turn into a murderer. You think
You
sometimes
react
they may
in
become
your
the murderer, you
response.
can become the murderer too. You, the
Yes.
abuser, can become the murderer.
Mhm.
You can, because a lot of times murder comes through your head. Most abuse, murder comes through your head. It comes
As a
in your
way to
mind.
protect yourself, as a way to protect yourself. So, so we
Yes.
talk about, so battered women syndrome has been identified in many legal cases as I suppose, the argument for why some women will respond with that level of violence to defend themselves. Yeah, yeah. I have another question for you.
Mm.
Given the fact that, like you say, we are a culture where we don't hang our laundry in public or dirty laundry in public. They call us say we separate a lot.
Mm.
We keep our business very hidden, quiet. I really feel so grateful to you for reaching out, but I would love to hear your thoughts on what inspired you to do that. What inspired you to reach out?
When I heard what happened to the ladies back home, I said sometimes maybe we hide everything, and they too maybe was hiding what was going on above them, and that's why
Hmm.
they maybe lost their life. I don't know. I'm just predicting.
Hmm.
But sometimes my story someone hear my story and they tell another story about this young lady. Do you have a story? And this young lady, you can do it too. Man, encourage. She went through worse than you, and she went out and she had kids too. So you can do it.
Yes.
So maybe I might save one life.
Yes.
So imagine we have 100 battered women in our country, and everybody tried to speak up.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine you save each other. One person save one person. That's 100 women we save.
That's right.
Because
And the
sometimes it's just a
children.
story.
And you say when you save, say a woman, you save also the man's future
Yes.
and the kids
Yes,
and
the
the
kids.
community.
The kids. The
Yes.
kids. The kids. Some men abuse, I know, some men also abuse the kids.
Yes.
But with him, he protected my daughter. I couldn't beat her,
Mm-hmm.
He beat me back. He didn't want to beat me back. Don't beat her. He protected her. I
Yeah.
couldn't touch her. He shielded her. But that was one of his type of control.
Mm-hmm.
Because I had that, he likes my daughter. He loves my daughter because that's not his child.
Yes.
And he shielded, I give her everything. God bring her to school. Make sure I go to work in the morning. He takes her to work. Make sure he takes her to school. He'll
Another
make sure she
reason when
comes
people
home.
ask, why did you not leave? This is
Exactly.
also a good human being, a person who's doing many good things in the
Yes, they
relationship.
do. Some might be doing the bad things, but some, in my case, was doing the good thing. She come
Mix.
from school, make sure she eats. If I'm at work, never
Mm-hmm.
leave her hungry. Make sure she go
Mm-hmm.
to school. Come home, I could not. I used to spatula her because I like to spatula her when she was a little rude.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me that spatula, don't hit her. He'd
Mm-hmm.
protect her. He
Mm-hmm.
would protect her.
So what would you say, as like try to think about it, what is maybe one thing or a few things that were the most confusing parts of that experience? You say it lasted 7 years?
Yes, that's what 7 years. What was confusing for me with him, he was not to say he was an alcohol, because most of my watch a movie, you see a man drinking and beating up the wife and battering the woman. No. He didn't
Mm-hmm.
drink. Even if he drink, he would never, 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 never. He was a kind of person. Another person in my life was my dad. My dad
Mm-hmm.
was my mom. When my dad drank, he never abused my mom.
Yes.
And he was that kind of person too. So you remind me of my dad too.
Mm-hmm.
And where some men, when they drink, that's when they're worse.
Mm-hmm.
He was not that kind of person. In my situation, one of the reasons I still had a good job, I had a home. He protected my children. Make sure I
Mm-hmm.
look out for them. He didn't
Yes.
tell me, that kind of way. As I said, I had come from a broken home. I was looking for that stability in my life, which I think I had. I was making
Mm-hmm.
money. I had a home of my own to call my own. He was not a person that say, go do this and go that. Never. I don't.
Mm-hmm.
If I cook, I cook. I don't cook, I don't cook. If I wash the clothes. He would hang the clothes to dry. He would fold the clothes.
Mm-hmm.
So he's not the type of man where, where's my food? Why didn't you cook? No. And he did everything with a soft voice.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the neighbor would hear me. They would not hear him.
Mm-hmm.
With a soft voice. And if anybody come by his sister, he's like a lamb. So they would
Mm-hmm.
never know if he was saying anything. He
Would
was
you go ahead? Go ahead. I want to
so
ask you
I
a
guess
question.
different men do things different situations. So maybe somebody would say, oh, I would hear it. They used to always be fighting. In my
Mm-hmm.
situation, I think when they hear the fight, they would more hear it on my side. Me yelling, shouting. They would not hear
Yeah.
him. Because I
Mm-hmm.
would explode. The outside would explode for everybody to hear.
Mm-hmm.
Where some men loud and they would run and whatever people would hear. But
Yes.
he was not that way.
Yes.
So everybody's situation is kind of different. Why
Absolutely.
we stay? Again, financial stability, or children, a home. Sometimes some people have nowhere to go to, nobody to turn to.
Mm-hmm.
People, I was rejected, but people reject some people.
Mm-hmm.
So these are the reasons we stay.
And
They
how do we
stay.
leave? And how
How
do
do
we leave?
you how do you live? You live silently. Sometimes not even your best friend you tell you go in. Because a best friend have a best friend, and a best friend have a best friend.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes not, you don't tell nobody. When I left, one person that knew, and I called to buy my bag, and I
Mm-hmm.
left. And then when I reached, I got at then I reached my sister, and she knew. And then I called my other sisters. But there were times I cried, and I was like, come and get me out of here. I need to be out of this country. My sister like, please, only come get me out of there. And then you think again, I have a job. I'm making my own money. What am I going to do when I go home? Where am I going to get to work when I go home? I'm just going to sit down in Dominica and work, and my children hungry. I mean, my children will be hungry because I know my sisters will feed them, but some people don't have that.
So they can live with resources and connections
and connection support. And health support. That is, they need the support. It is key. It is key. Whereas for a home, we don't have that in Dominica. As I was saying, I saw my daughter, Mommy, why do you play lottery? I said, when I win the lottery, I'm going to open a home for battle. Oh, that's one of my things I always say. I want to open a home. If I ever have money to go to my country, to open a home for battered women and a shelter for homeless people. That is my dream. That is my dream. I always tell my daughter, if I have money, that's what I want to do. I want to open a place, because even if you have the home, because when you have the home, you have to prepare for the children, you have to prepare for the parents, you have to do counseling. Like, so I say, when I have my home and one day I have the money, you'll come and you can do the counseling. Maybe you can do it for free.
Let's go. I'm saying yes now.
You might not have the money to pay people, because to open a home is a lot of money.
Absolutely.
But then if everybody can have, because they're going to need doctors, they're going to need counselors, they're going to need everything. But if we come together as a society and say, I'm a counselor, I can give one with counsel, because you need I never get counseling.
I was going to ask you, did you ever receive counseling, and what do you think about it?
Never went to counsel. I never went to counseling. I have never been through a counselor. And sometimes, even in America, I tell myself, I wonder if I needed if I needed to go to court. Even when I met you, I tell that Miss I said, when I came, I said, my daughter, I wonder if I should call and give her a call until I want to talk to her, because I've never been to a counselor. Maybe I need it. I need a counselor. I don't know, but I
think it's very valuable for anybody who's experienced that kind of relationship, any kind of traumatic event. I think counseling is valuable. And for people who are in the US, your work usually offers what are called employee assistance program counseling opportunities. So you might get about 6 free sessions. Some people get up to 10 or 12. Or your health insurance, you can call, if you have United, Aetna, Cigna, whomever, and you can go see a counselor with just having to pay a small copay. So if the resource is available, I would tell you, yes, go ahead and use it. To at the very least process with a professional that kind of experience. But it's just so powerful. And so you described this, the way you responded for many years in a hypervigilant, on high alert state. Even the people who loved you couldn't touch you. Yes. And it took a long time before your brain could reset itself. Thankfully, our brains are neuroplastic, so they can heal. It can come back. A traumatized brain can become a healed brain again. So we don't always stay in a state of trauma or being traumatized. So I'm happy you talk about counseling as an option. I want to do a little thing, like a little kind of a post-mortem with you, where I want to ask you, as you clearly describe, your husband was not just a batterer or an abusive man. He was also a good person, a good man, took care of your kids, took care of the home, took care of you in many ways. I want to know the most joyful thing maybe about being in that relationship, because you lived through it. Also, if you can think about maybe the most painful experience, most joyful experience, most painful experience, what you want as you move forward in life, given your experience there, what you don't want ever again, and some of maybe your biggest lesson from that experience. So first off, the thing that maybe brings you the most joy or pleasure when you think about that relationship.
Maybe I have amnesia to that. I don't think I can. I think I have amnesia to that.
That's okay.
Because my abuse was so bad for me and traumatizing to me that I think it override any good.
Yes. Yes.
part in that
Yes.
relationship.
Yes.
I
What was?
cannot say that I didn't love him.
Yeah.
I cannot say I didn't love him. I did love him, but
Mm-hmm.
I cannot, because it was just too
Mm-hmm.
traumatizing for me that I cannot
Yeah.
that part I can't.
Nothing comes.
Nothing
What was
comes.
the painful experience that you can recall or that you feel comfortable sharing?
The worst experience, one of my worst experience were there were three. The one I did was the beating. I had a bad sexual rape with him that I cannot go into details. That was really, 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 really bad.
Mm-hmm.
And the spitting in my face.
Mm-hmm.
You go to spit on dogs. I have my
Mm-hmm.
dog sleep on my bed, spitting
Mm-hmm.
in my face. When I had when I saw like my brain was going to spit into,
Mm-hmm.
and that sexual abuse. That one it was one instance where that was really bad.
Mm-hmm. And
Those
so,
were really tragic to me.
yes. So a reminder, as you ask, do you think, as you ask me, do I think you should, yes, go ahead and explore some of this in therapy? I say yes. Okay. As you tell me this, I say yes. Okay. Now, based on that whole relationship and the experience, what do you never want to experience again in your lifetime?
I never want to experience that abusive relationship on a whole.
Hmm.
I have my home now. I am very happy. I cannot complain about my husband. I have the best husband you
Mm.
can think of.
It's
I had even
beautiful.
reached a stage where I remember I go in the road and I kiss. I tell my kiss that they're coming to this country, whatever country it was.
Hmm.
I say I will never love a black man again.
Hmm.
So I had that disdain for black men in my head. And I think
Hmm.
my next husband is going to be a white man. I'm going to go to a Chinese in my next culture. So, as I said, I gave my husband, before we got married, I put my down. Never you raise your voice at me.
Hmm.
Never you call me names. Even Americans like to call women bitch.
Hmm.
Sometimes you
Hmm.
will do that if you ever do something on the road.
Hmm.
I get angry. I say, I
Hmm.
told you, I never want to hear call a woman those names. I don't care what she does.
Yeah.
Those are painful. He said, it's just a slang. I say, no, it's not a
Hmm.
slang. It's not a nice feeling to call women those names there. I've been called that, and it's hurtful. So name calling, yelling,
Hmm.
name calling, and just overall, I tell him that to make things better, we will have disagreements and misunderstandings. Let's talk it over.
Hmm.
Let's sit
Hmm.
and talk. No names calling, no yelling, no swearing, those kind of things there. I don't want to go through it because right, I rather be by myself for the rest of my life
Yes.
than to go where you yelling and cursing. I don't want to hear those. I don't want to hear it in my head.
Hmm.
I rather you stay in the house and never talk to me.
Hmm.
I said, forget, I rather you just say no word to me at all and just, even if you just go to sleep and that's it.
Hmm.
But do not use these things because you will not have a wife. I'll be
Hmm.
out in a snap of a finger and I will not hesitate to leave. I said, I will not hesitate. I would
Thank you for
not
sharing that.
hesitate.
I think it's important for people to know their do not cross lines. And it's important to communicate that with the people we're in relationship with so that they can love us better.
And strangely, as you said, and I met my husband, first thing I said, I asked when I first met him, do you have a gun? I
Mm.
said, do you own a gun?
Hmm.
No. Well, when I first came to his house, I searched his entire house to make sure there's never a gun. He said, why? I
Yeah.
said, because you have a gun, I won't be staying with you because if I get an argument, you might kill me. He said,
Yeah.
I won't do that. I said, I'm not trusting anybody. He said, no, I
Yeah.
don't have a gun. I said,
Hmm.
nobody's ever owned a gun.
Yes. It's important to know your level of comfort, where that starts, where that ends. It's very
Yes,
important. It'll save your
very
life.
important.
It'll save your life. Okay, so here's another question which is similar but
Mm.
different. Based on that relationship experience, what do you want moving forward?
Moving forward, I think I have all I have for what I'm looking for moving forward. I can smile. I can eat, I can drink, I can hop the plane and go to Dominica whenever I want. My husband is gonna say, where did you come from? And I like, honey, it's like last time I remember the last time I go to Dominica, I was like, honey, I'm going to Dominica in the next 2 days. I just bought a ticket. You did? Okay. What time is your flight? I
Yeah.
think that's okay. That's okay, honey.
That's
So
adult love. That's adult love. That's how you
yes,
love
yes.
an
We don't
adult.
know. Oh, you
Yes.
can just without even asking. I had to go to Dominica. I said I forgot to tell you. I forgot
Yes.
to tell you I bought a ticket. I have to leave. I leave it in the next 2 days.
Yeah.
Not a word to say. I
Yeah.
cannot complain, and I have moved forward. And maybe I still have scars. I think I do have scars because when it
Mhm.
happened to the women in Dominica, I think whenever I see any abusive things, it brings back memory to me. And sometimes I just
Mhm.
stay quiet and I try to
Mhm.
forget it, but I know deep down it's there.
Mhm.
Especially when I
Mhm.
hear the dead, especially when I know the women have been killed, it's
Mhm.
sad. I could have been one of those people many years ago,
Mhm.
and it, uh, and I remember, and it is such. There's so many things about me. And maybe I do need a constant because I remember I was a little girl, and my dad was, and I remember I told my mom I was 13 or 14 years old, like I need some gramophone. I'm gonna kill my dad. I
Mhm.
never
Mhm.
forget that. She don't.
Mhm.
My sister don't remember. I
Mhm.
said, no, you can't be beating me, mommy. It's
Mhm.
not right. She's like, don't do it. You're going to go to jail. I said, no, I'm underage. Not going to do me anything. I will tell the cops I did it.
Mhm.
I don't want him to beat you, mom. We'll be fine, all of us in this house. And
Mhm.
she was thinking the same thing. She said, where am I going to go for all you? Where am I going to
Yeah.
put my children? Are they going to be, we're going to, I said, no, we're not going to be on the road. The government will put him out. And he'll be
Mhm.
dead. And we all will live happy in this house.
Mhm.
I didn't have half an hour. And I'd get the gramophone, I remember. He came
Mhm.
for that plate of my mom cried, please, Desde, don't do that.
Mhm.
I said, okay, mommy, I won't do it for you. Half an hour and he sat and I was sitting there eating the plate of food. I was
Mhm.
about to pour the gramophone to kill him.
Mhm.
So it's a lot I go through too. My
Mhm.
mom, I see my mom go through it and I'm thinking about it.
Mhm.
And I don't want to see my kids go through it, my friends. So if
Yeah.
I can help somebody, I would help somebody get out. When any person
Mhm.
have to come to my home, I will welcome that person in my home to save that person's life. That's
Mhm.
me. And I would tell my husband, I tell him, my home is open to anybody that need help.
Mhm.
I say, I don't care. I put the blow up bed, I put the comfort on the floor. I say, I know you know that's not your culture, but
Yeah.
my home is open to anybody. I don't care who it is. And it's to
Mhm.
save that person. I cannot do that. I cannot leave people on the road that need help. I will help that person. That person is a bad person. Whatever is a pet of food and they have to stay my home for 20 months. You're like, look at, I say, yes, I'm telling you that to you. They will stay
Mhm.
20 months. I will help that person. But then a lot of people might not do that. But for
Yes.
me, I would do it because I know
Yeah.
I say because I know what I've been through. I know what I have been through. And thank God I had my sisters. But some people don't have that. Maybe they just it's a stranger that need to help them sometimes. So sometimes we
Absolutely.
have to open our sometimes it's a stranger to help that person. We all talk and
Mhm.
go online and say things have to happen. But would we open that door to that person?
Mhm.
Would we open our door to that person and have that person and their children? Most people would not.
Absolutely.
Most people would not. So when
Yeah.
we see things happen and we talk, everybody talking and give them, but would we open our doors and give that person a piece of food and shelter, which is the main thing they need in life, a shelter
Mhm.
and a piece of food. And especially when they
Mhm.
have the children are the little ones. They need
Yeah.
food, they need a shelter. Mom is not going to leave her child hungry. A good mom not going to leave her child hungry. She rather stay and get
Absolutely.
abused for her child.
Absolutely.
So this is some of the reason why we battle women sister. Don't say why they stand to make 7 children. 90% of the time, I'm not a doctor, you are. I believe those children were born out of rape.
Mhm. Many of them are
Many of them. So we say, why they stay in the
forced
relation and they make
encounter.
7, 8 children? They were
Forced
not born
encounter.
out of love, they were raped.
Mhm.
How are they going to get, well, they don't have the money for them, they don't have money to feed them, they're going to go have an abortion. First of all, abortion is
Mhm.
illegal in Dominica anyhow. So
Right.
what are they going to do? They're going to carry the child. Nobody not going to know it's rape. They're not going to tell
Mhm.
you the husband raped them. So them not even be that educated to even know that it's rape
Absolutely.
in certain situation. So they carry the children. Why do they go and
Absolutely.
take family planning? Yes, you take the family planning. When the things happen, they don't know. They don't understand when this men come and they attack you. They attack
Mhm.
you like the you don't even know what
Out of the
what
blue.
happened. What did I
Out of
do?
the blue. Yes. 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 Yes.
And when they attack you, the second thing after they attack and abuse, they come for the sex.
Yes.
So most of the time, those are unwanted children.
Yeah.
So when people say, I hear somebody say the woman had how much 7 children. Come on, she not business to make 7 children. I believe in my heart, I don't know, I'm just predicting, you're the doctor, that most of the children is not out. Because I remember, I said, he told me, my stomach was a cemetery. I said, you know what? My rather my stomach be a cemetery than to carry a child for you.
Yes.
So most time, I did have a miscarriage for him. I did have one, but thank God it was a miscarriage. But I'd attempt to take it off anyhow. The money was going to come somewhere. That's why I don't care. I'm a Lord advocate for abortion.
Yes. Yes.
So most time, though the women have how many children, those children are out of rape. And then sometimes the men tend to burden you with these children so they tie you down and keep you down with these children.
More power and control.
Because I remember he used to always tell me, I want to beg. Why don't you give me? He used to beg me, why don't you make a child? Why don't you make a child? But that was one of his way of controlling me to have a child. I remember telling the sisters and them, if only thing, I will now leave it right there for when I was going. I said, I was walking, I'll leave my child for you. And I said, leave my 2 for my mom and make a better life. Why would I stay this one? Because I have your no. I said, well, it doesn't mean I would turn my back on my child. I didn't turn my back on my children. I would take care of them. But if I had to go, I would. I will not continue going and leave it there. So they tend to give that children also children to burden you down, because that's another way of control. No mother going to walk away from their children. They love their children. You love your child. No matter what. You love your child. It's an easy thing to walk away from your children. One of the hardest things you can do. And then there was me again. I had my mom. I could leave my children before my dad went. He take care of my children too. When I was abused, I was young. That was then. When I grew, he take care. He loved his grandchildren, and he took care of them. But some people don't have no mother, no father to turn to take care of their children. They have to break their burden.
They don't have the support.
Like you said, yes. These children come out of rape. But some women do not have the knowledge to know that it's rape. They think, it is rape.
So here's the last question in that process. What is your biggest lesson or lessons? What are your biggest lessons?
My biggest lesson to me is I was a very strong woman to myself. I know I was strong. I was a strong woman. I know I'm a strong woman. And I talk to myself a lot when I'm in anything. When I was in that situation, I used to talk to myself. I was my own doctor, my own psychological doctor to myself. I would talk to myself. And I talk to God too. I used to talk to God too. And I would go on my knees and tell him why. And I remember there are sometimes too, when you see, if I get, I've been in that state of mind, I would just go singing gospel. I would be singing gospel songs back and forth in the house.
Yes.
To free me of that burden, free my mind.
Yeah.
So
I am my own doctor. I care for myself.
My own healer.
Yes. Yes.
My own healer and my own doctor. And I really had some good people. So his sisters, as I talk about them too, they were there for me. They stood to him for me too. You know, they really did. And I just sad that some people don't have that again. Some people don't have that. We have to be there for each other. We have to be for our neighbor's keeper. We have to. And the people, even at they're out there in silence, we have to speak up. We cannot hide these men. We have to let the world know. I cannot call them who they. I remember when I left, I met this certain old lady, and then he's a person who help old people. He loves children and old people. If you see any old person there, he would carry it for you. And the lady said that that person's wife. She said, "My God, you're a beautiful lady." So I told her what. I said, "No, he's a bad." He said, "No, no, he would never do such a thing." The old lady said that to me.
Yes.
He said he's not that kind of person. He loved old people. Any old person run to their aid and help them. And a young child help them. He was still take care of them.
Jekyll, Mr. Hyde sort of split two different people.
Yes.
Yeah. different experiences, and that
Yes.
can happen often where people in the community, relatives, friends, can isolate the victim further by denying you your
Yes.
truth when you tell them
Yes.
something.
That is the kind
Mhm,
of person. Yes.
mhm.
The part of the abuse also come from he has other women too.
Mhm.
The abuse also come from the men being cheaters.
Yes, yes.
And some women out there tend to put a lot of destruction into the homes, so other people's home too, and
Please speak a
lives.
little bit more on that, because we talk about abuse, but many people don't realize that cheating on your spouse is a form of being
Of
abusive to
views.
your
Yeah.
mate.
Oh, it is one of the major ones. I remember I had an experience in that where I was like, "Where are you going?" I'm going to my friends. I'm going to New York to my friends. That doesn't make sense to me. Where are you going like that? But I remember I was watching the episode of Doctor Phil. And Doctor Phil say, a lady has to be an investigator. There is no, we say, there is, Dr. Philad said there is, I don't want to say what he was saying. You have to be an investigator. He said, do your investigation. So I said, like, where you going? And he's always on his computer. The computer, I'm geeking, like, where you
Mhm,
going? I cannot get that passport. And when he comes back, he bring me gifts and whatever, whatever.
mhm,
And I was like, this man, something not right. So I went, it was when he went away, so I was doing like a mopping, like, looking for that
mhm,
password for that computer. I said, I will catch something is not right. And I get the password, he left and he go a weekend. I went on the computer. I said, okay. I said, Desde, you know you're dead. Because you couldn't know I go on the computer. I don't I said, right, I'm doing some investigating. Something is not right.
mhm,
Because and it's like when you come back, it's like you don't want to talk to me, whatever, what the confusion started. I said the confusion. So when
mhm,
I go, I say, how many chats open? I'm like, what is this? I'm like, so I said, Desde, you're gonna have to find something. So I say, hi, hi, hi. So they thought it was him.
mhm,
So I like, so now I hear, hi, honey, hi, babe. Like, okay.
mhm,
So I'm like, who is this? So what? So the person said, who is this? So anyway, I end up being one of the girls, being a Jamaican, one that
mhm,
end up being from Tortola. So I end up chatting to people from Tortola. So I say hi. So I say hi. So I say this is Eddie. This is Eddie's. So she say, his wife. I say
mhm,
yes. So she said, um, no, he's not married. I say he's not married. I said, so why am I on his computer talking to you?
mhm,
I said, for me to be talking to you, I have to, and I'm on all your chats.
mhm,
And I started scrolling, I started reading the chat. I said, well, this is all your chats.
mhm,
So why am I? She said, really? She said, oh my God. She said, anyway, she said, where are you from? She said, where are you from? She said, but you seem like a very nice person.
mhm,
I said, why do you say that in chat? And she said, because another person, another lady would be shouting bad words and thinking, getting on. I said, no, I said, I'm a grown person. You're a grown person. I have no reason to do that. And she said, wow. She said, well, you're different. So then we started chatting. And the stories the girl tell, the stories the girl gave me, I was in awe. She could describe the entire house for me.
mhm,
I like, when? When did you come to the house? Because I said, well, you had to, so like giving it, I said, well, for you to come to my house, you would have to come between the time I'm in work. I leave
mhm,
work 5, I go early, I leave 6:30 to go to work, I come back like 3:30. So you'd have to come between that time, not anywhere after that time. After she said, but you're right, I never come to your house in the evening. I said, no, you cannot come to my home because I'm home.
mhm,
And at that time, all the siblings at work, everybody's at work. The girl could tell me everything. I was like, the girl tell me she was packing, to move in with him.
mhm.
I said, what you were doing? She was packing to take her job to move in with him. I'm like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
She thanked me so much. And then we started talking. She told me give her a number. I give her my number. She called me and she said, you look so a nice person. And she told me, oh my God, I'm gonna. She said, I'm gonna set somebody to whatever to him or whatever, whatever. I told her, no. I said, no. I said, don't worry about that. She said, but he's gonna no. I said, no. I said, you tell me what's on his computer, you're gonna know, you're gonna know. I little thing to delete and whatever. So
Mm-hmm.
I would just delete it like he'll not know I was on it. And she said, talking to me. She said, clothes. She could tell me everything, his clothes, what she buy for him, whatever, 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 all kinds of things. She said, come on, they were in St. Thomas together. They were what? I'm like, are you kidding me?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, so that is the reason why when he came that such a day, he started making noise. Because he was just with you. So you don't know, you think I'm gonna ask him questions to where you come from. I know that kind of person, I don't care. No, I don't care. But I know that person make confusion for those kind of things there. I passed that. So this is the reason they come making noise. To like turn everything wrong against me, that I'm a bad woman, whatever, whatever.
You keep you
Yes,
in a state of
yes,
anxiety, high alert, deflection.
yes,
So
yes.
you, so
Another chip that
lady,
they, yes. Another
yeah,
one, the
lady,
chip they cause problem.
Desde is
And that
saying
brought me
it's okay
home.
to know. It is okay to know. It is okay to know. It's okay to know, even if the information is painful. It's okay to
Yes.
admit, yes, I'm in an abusive relationship. It's okay to admit this is too painful for me. I am not comfortable anymore to continue
In this.
experiencing whatever that is, whatever that is. So there's before your final thoughts and before we wrap up
Mm.
in 5 minutes, I'm going to take a few of the comments, okay? Somebody
Yes.
says you just went through a long counseling session. They bring that closure and your ability to speak of it and smile tells them that they think you're healing and that you've come a long way in your healing process. I sense that they're encouraging you to continue on your healing journey.
Mm.
Keep transmuting, keep changing the energy of that pain into purpose and power. Like you said, hey, I have this vision to support people in similar situations. It's beautiful. Here's another comment, very enlightening. Can I ask your guest, when did she first recognize her first husband as being abusive? Was it before or after? So I think this person maybe missed the beginning. So just
Yeah.
um,
It was after I got married. It was after. Right after the marriage.
mhm,
After. And I started
yeah,
working and making my own money. Mm.
yes. So you said this was the perfect man, perfect gentleman,
Yes.
courted
Yes.
you well, made you feel beautiful, gifts,
Mm-hmm.
provided well, all of that. Mhm. Um, somebody says it's not easy, is it? And that is what prompted you to speak up because
Yeah.
a lot of people were just making these comments like very nonchalantly, flippantly.
Yes.
Yeah. People think you can just leave, just walk away,
No.
or that you can fight back. Fighting back against somebody
Very
who's physically
dangerous.
stronger than you, it could be very dangerous. You
Very
could lose.
dangerous. You lose your
Yeah.
life, trust me. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, final one. Wednesday asked, now, Doc, was there any way that the abuser could have been helped to stop? What I say to that is, uh, at the first sign of discomfort in a relationship, for me, as Desde is telling you, more often than not, that starts with verbal abuse. It starts with stuff like criticism, just snide comments,
Mm-hmm.
and agreements, different opinions, that little snarky stuff, timekeeping. Well, how come you got? I thought I called you, you didn't pick up, and
Mm-hmm.
your work ended, and the train should take you this amount of time
Mm-hmm.
to. How come you're only getting here, and you find yourself backpedaling and feeling confused as to why is this person asking me something that really kind of makes no sense? I'm an adult
Mm-hmm.
here. I think it starts crossing the line when they start the name calling.
Mm-hmm.
You are a this, or you are a whatever outside of your name. You are a whatever outside of your name. To me, is a signal that if I
Mm-hmm.
express to you that this is too painful for me, I'm not comfortable with this, and you don't make an adjustment like right away, we need third-party intervention. We need a professional, and that is psychologist, a licensed professional counselor, a licensed clinical social worker, somebody who's trained to at least provide some sort of intervention. If we can work through that and navigate that, potentially we have an opportunity to heal and grow together and to become better together as a couple. But if your person says, who do you think you are? No, I'm not going to counseling. I don't need help. I'm fine. You're the crazy one. You're overreacting. You're doing too much. Get over it. This is just how I talk. That's not your person. And there might be nothing you can do with that. So, Winsty, I do believe that that counseling and therapy can help. But the person has to be willing. Both
Willing
people
to
have
do it. That's true.
individual.
Willing to do it.
So this is a person who would need individual counseling, and you as a couple would need counseling as well. So individual and couples. Okay. So as we wind up, I am just so thankful and grateful to you, Desdemonia, for standing up and saying yes. To me, that is a bit of a marker too on the level on where you are in the healing process, because you have to have a certain level of being able to separate yourself from that kind of history to be able to talk about it in this way. And everybody's process of healing is different.
Different.
I am happy that you are where you are today, that you can give us more insight, especially for our people in Dominica, because we need to understand better. I'm actually inviting anybody who's been a perpetrator to reach out to
That'd be
me.
nice.
Yes, who's come far enough on their healing journey that they can talk about it in
Because they
this
too
way.
need the help. They are the one, they
Absolutely.
need the help too. They need help
Yes,
too. They might have some trauma in their life too. They need help
absolutely.
too. Mm.
Yeah. And we need to figure this out because we cannot afford to lose our people like this. Beautiful, young,
Yeah,
vibrant people. Everybody's an adult. You don't get into relationships to get hurt. Nobody does
good.
that. Yeah. We have to
Be
do that.
loved.
Absolutely. We have to do that better. So what are your final thoughts as we get
My
ready to
final thought I'm going to give to, I think, to anybody in a relationship up there,
Mhm.
the young ones starting life. There are signs before we even tie the knot. Like mine, I didn't really see it because sometimes you might be in a big world, like in America, you might have nobody to tell you about that person. So you can take that dive and get to
Mhm.
but little country like our country. Somebody knows
Mhm.
somebody, everybody
Mhm.
know everybody. Listen.
Mhm.
Please listen. The signs will be there. And then we bypass it and we marry. The signs starts from the little name calling, the
Mhm.
yelling and swearing.
Mhm.
When you love somebody, you do not do that. You're gonna have misunderstanding. Love cannot do that.
Mhm.
That's not love.
Mhm.
So we need to start from there if we are young ones to let them know, even big elders that in the yeah, older ones in the relationship too. This is not love. That's how it starts and it's gonna get bigger and bigger. See the signs and get out.
Yes.
Get out. They might think there's nobody out there to love them. There are people out there to love you. That's the reason sometimes why some of them stay. Because they think there's nobody that's gonna love them. And they tell that to you.
And they're being told
But
that often by
trust
the abuser.
by the abuser. But
Mhm.
trust me, there is love out there. We don't
Mhm.
have to come to our own race. We might think men have to stay for Dominic. You don't have to love a Dominican. There's a white man, a Haitian, a National Jamaican, everywhere out there. Get out.
Mhm.
When they start condemning, get out. It's not going to
Mhm.
get better. It's going to
Yes.
get worse. So
Yes.
this is my advice. Get out. Start from small. Young people listen up. They listen to our parents. They know better. Start. The ladies, don't curse. When the man start yelling at you and cursing you, get out. Get out. It's gonna get worse. So don't even think of going to the marriage. Don't even think of going into the marriage. It's not gonna get better. Run. Keep on
Yes.
running. And there is love out there. There is somebody out there for you. Don't think that person is your love. No, there is somebody out there. You might not get it when you're 20 years. You might not get it. You might get it when you're 50 years.
Yes.
There is love out there. There is love out there for you somewhere, but don't worry. Get out. And
Yeah.
the men, they too can be abused, and they too have to learn to not respect women. Respect
Yeah.
women. You cannot make it with a woman. Leave her alone. Leave her alone. Go away. Leave her alone. So
Absolutely.
this is my last thought for the night.
I am so proud of you. I'm so happy to talk with you. All of our cottage people, I know they're sending you love. I put babes, babes. I put your post to end it for the night. Your girlfriend, your ride or die,
That's
your
my older sister from
BFF,
another mother.
ever. Yes.
I have a few friends I can shout out to: Judy Froman, Yolanda Roy,
Yolanda.
Thomas, Julie James, Sandy Savre. Those are my girls. Those are my girls.
And so
Those are my friends. Yeah.
that's what we do for each other. We support each
Yeah.
other so that we don't
Mm.
feel alone and
Yeah.
isolated in our relationships, because a relationship is just a part of your life. It's just one part of your life. So I'm going to read Judith's post to send us to bed tonight and to
Mm.
send us out into the streets of Tokyo, go shopping. Judith
Mm.
says, thank you so much for sharing your experience. I pray that at least one woman, at least, and that's my prayer too, Des, at least
Yes.
one
One
woman,
person
Judith, that's my
will
prayer
be.
too, at least one woman through your experience, or man, through your experience knows and sees tonight that she too can leave such abusive
That's
situations.
right.
Yes.
You
And
can. You
yes,
can.
yes,
Yes. Tell
yes,
yourself you can, and you will.
and I want to review so much of what Desde says was, hey, women stay because the person is not all bad. Their kids, their mortgages, there's a life that's built, there's emotional connection, how they can leave, support from you, from us, resources. Okay? So I want to remind the people from Dominica tonight that I am offering a free mental health therapy clinic once a month, the first Saturday of each month in this year, 2023. We've already booked, you guys have reached out. We've already booked through April. So you can reach out to me via Facebook
Okay.
and ask for if you're in Dominica, I know you don't have access to many therapeutic opportunities. I get that. So this is just for people who are in Dominica. Take advantage of the free
Yeah.
sessions, okay? And keep listening for more Transforming Trauma podcasts this year. Keep following my page, my Dr. Triffy page, my professional page. I'm doing a lot more to provide tips and strategies to help you think better, feel better, and do better. And of course, our home people, you all know me at Margaret Wallace, sometimes Dr. Tripping. That's just part of all of who we are. I appreciate you all for watching us tonight.
Thank
Des,
you. I
thank you
hope
so much,
everyone's listening and
Des.
enjoyed our conversation.
I'm so proud
Thank you,
of you
Dominica.
again.
Thank you.
You're
Have a good night.
yes.